Hello everyone! Happy Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, blah, 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 blah. Whenever I decide to post this. Hey, what is up? How are you guys doing? I do apologize for like the slow mess that is starting to accumulate in the background of this video, but I hope my JoJo Siwa Squishmallow can help fix the overall look of this video. Just for some context, I am moving out very, very soon, so my room is slowly morphing into the classic state of chaos that we all experience before we move out. I decided that I wanted to fully take advantage of back to school season and just hop onto the college advice train right now, since this is the time where a lot of people are starting college, going back to school, and I thought it would be a fun, cute little video if I sat down with you all and shared some extremely helpful college advice. If this is your first time watching one of my videos and seeing my face, hello, my name is Lara. I am going to be a junior at the University of Maryland College Park, and I am majoring in environmental science. So I would like to think that, you know, my 2 years of college has warranted certain advice. So yes, let's just get straight into the college advice. Honestly, I'm just gonna start this video off with a bang and start it off with probably the best advice I got in college. That is to never be friends with someone out of pity. I'm going to use college and university as a way to conceptualize this piece of advice, but honestly, this is something that can go way beyond and well into adult life. But in this context, college is a time where you are meeting new people, but it is also a time where you can actually surround yourself with people that you genuinely want to be around, which I feel like high school doesn't really allow you to do that, because you go to school every single day and you go to the same classes and you're surrounded by the same exact people all the time, which is not the case when you go to college. Also, because in college, I feel like social interactions require way more social friction than they do in high school. Meaning that sometimes it takes a lot more effort to actually hang out with someone. With that being said, if someone you start to hang out with gives you bad vibes or does anything to make you feel uncomfortable, but you continue to hang out with them because you notice that they don't have a lot of friends in their life and you don't want to be like that person to back out of their life or whatever, 9 times out of 10, they do not have a lot of friends in their life for a reason. I'll use an example for myself. Last year, I was a part of a club and I met someone who was also in that club, and right off the bat, they seemed really, really nice. We would always like hang out with each other at club meetings, and sometimes outside of the club, we would hang out as well. And all in all, whenever we were hanging out with each other, it was a good time, but then they would do things that occasionally would make me feel uncomfortable. Whether it was like with the things they said, the jokes they made, or like the way they would like snap at me and sometimes talk to me, that just made me feel really weird and uncomfortable. But I continued the friendship because I noticed that this person didn't really have a lot of friends and I didn't want to be mean. Essentially, that was it. Until there was one night where this person just did stuff that was like completely disrespectful and said things that were not okay, such as cough cough, making a joke about my skin color and me being too dark. The way they treated me that night really made me think, because when I went back to my place, I was like, I don't ever want to be treated like that again by someone who is my friend. And so I just stopped being friends with that person. And honestly, that was a really good decision, because some of our other mutual friends told me about other really shitty things that person did. So again, do not feel pressured to be friends with someone because you feel bad for them not having friends. If someone does not have a lot of friends and they give you a bad, weird vibe, there is a reason why they don't have a lot of friends. Continuing the topic of friendship, the next word of advice I have for college is that high school friendships will change over time, and some are just not meant to last. Do not force yourself to stay in touch with your old friends all the time. Really allow yourself that time and that space to grow on your own. And I will say that your friendship dynamic with certain friends you keep from high school will absolutely change over time, because not only are you growing as a person, but your friends are also growing as people, and sometimes you may grow together in the same direction, and and other times you may grow in different directions, and that's completely okay. For example, with me, I have a very different dynamic and relationship with a lot of the friends I still have from high school. There are some friends that I know I could go party with, go on like beach trips with, and then there are other friends that I know have different taste in how they like to spend their time. And also, especially after graduating high school, friendship breakups are very real and they definitely suck, but it's a part of life. It is a part of growing up. It is a part of adulthood, and they're definitely not something that you should try to avoid at all costs. So this next piece of advice is that in college, you will really have to learn how to assert your boundaries. I think it is extremely important that you learn what your personal boundaries are, what you are comfortable doing, and when you go to college, really assert those boundaries, especially your personal boundaries with relationships. I understand it can be really hard to assert your boundaries, especially if your boundaries don't really align with what is considered normal and expected of people in college. But if you continue to assert your boundaries and like have a really strong head for yourself, then you will naturally filter out disrespectful people from your life. Point blank period. Asserting your boundaries to different people is a really good indicator on whether those are people that you should keep in your life. Let's say you are not comfortable doing a certain thing and you tell your friends that, and they make you feel embarrassed about having those boundaries, they question it, they peer pressure you, whatever, then those are not real friends. If you feel uncomfortable by certain things, you don't owe an explanation to anyone. Asserting your boundaries is a really, really important way to avoid uncomfortable situations, especially with relationships. If you have certain boundaries for yourself, then those are your boundaries that your partner or future partners should absolutely respect, no questions asked. Now, the next explanation for the whole boundary word of advice is that it is extremely important that you establish your boundaries with your roommates right from the beginning. But not only establishing those initial boundaries, but asserting them throughout the year. I feel like your roommate is the last person you want to have an awkward falling out with. There is nothing more uncomfortable than living in the same room as someone that you are not on speaking terms with. And I feel like one of the best ways to avoid that discomfort is to assert your boundaries from the beginning and, reestablish those boundaries as time passes by. So this next word of advice is taking a bit of a different turn, and that is do not treat college clubs like high school clubs. I know with how competitive college acceptance culture is in high school, a lot of people have that mindset with high school clubs where they treat them like Pokemon and you gotta catch them all just to have the most stacked resume as a 16-year-old. That is not necessary in college. You do not need to join every single club that you're vaguely interested in college. College is really the time for you to pursue things that you actually like. Join clubs related to things that you are actually passionate about, especially if you go to a big school, because this allows you to build a community for yourself in college and surround yourself with people who have those same interests in you, and it also puts you in a better position to make more genuine connections with people in college and build those deeper friendships. For example, with me, I am a little granola girl, I'm a little hippie girl, I really like the environment, so I rushed the professional environmental science frat on campus, and by doing that, I truly built such a strong community for myself in college. I just love my frat so much, and I really feel it is a space where I truly belong. I've made so many great friends from it. I don't want to paint the perfect picture and every single club is going to be like that, but by joining things that you're actually interested in, it really opens you up to forming a better community for yourself. Also, practically speaking, especially if you join a club or organization related to your major, it is a really easy way to find study buddies in your class. I cannot tell you how many times I have started a class and noticed different people in my frat being in that class, and then immediately having a study buddy. Extremely useful, 10 out of 10 recommend. The next piece of advice I have is to connect with your college professors. Now, I know everyone and their mom says to connect with your college professors, but there is a reason why everyone and their mom is saying to connect with your college professors, because you need people to write letters of recommendations for you for job applications or scholarships or stuff like that. But college professors, especially if they are in the field that you're interested in, they can really help introduce you to that field. However, I do understand that, especially if it's not a class that you're struggling in and you don't really have a reason to go to office hours, I understand how it can be awkward to just like go up to your professor and talk to them, because for me at least, I'm like, what do I talk to my professor about? Like, do I just go to their office hours and like ask them what their favorite color is? So one thing that I found to be really helpful for my frat has been doing like an informal interview with some of my professors. It is a requirement for us, but let me tell you, this informal interview is extremely helpful because it helps you build a more personal connection with that professor. That also just allows you to open the door. So segueing off of that bit of advice, my next piece of advice is to take advantage of literally everything your school has to offer. If you are a college student, get the Spotify Premium with the Hulu for $5 a month. I know a lot of universities have a free subscription to HBO Max if you're living on campus. Get that free subscription. Another example for me is UMD offers free access to Adobe Creative Cloud platforms such as Premiere Pro, Photoshop, and Lightroom, which I have been able to take advantage of and use for my videos, and I don't have to pay for it because I'm a student. I know a lot of universities have a career center where you can sit down with someone and they can like give you practical advice on your resume and how to improve your resume, helping you find internships. Like, if you're going to college and just going to class, getting your grade and leaving, you are absolutely not getting your tuition's worth from that university, because you're going to be in college for a very limited amount of time, but during that limited amount of time, you will have access to so many things. So really take advantage of that. Also take advantage of things like office hours, especially if you have a hard class. And one thing that UMD does for like the really big classes is we have things called GSS, which stands for guided study sessions, where TAs will go over the concepts you talked about in class and give you practice for that. Trust me when I tell you, with my full chest, I would not have passed organic chemistry if it were not for the GSS sessions. So this piece of advice is, at the beginning of the semester, write down all of the assignments that you will have for every single class you have. College is different from high school, where I feel like in high school, I was like blindsided by my assignments because I didn't really know what was coming, and then there would be 1 week where I would have like 3 exams, but I had no way to prepare for that ahead of time because it was just announced when it was announced. But college is different because you get a lovely thing called a syllabus, and in that syllabus, 9 times out of 10, your college professor will write down all of the exam dates and the due dates for all of your big assignments like essays, homeworks. And one of the best things you can do for yourself, especially to prepare yourself for the semester, is just to write down the dates for all of those stuff. So I know one really common thing that I didn't personally do, but I heard it's helpful for a lot of other people, is to do the thing on Excel where you write down all of the assignments and then you sort it out by the date and the class. There are definitely a lot of videos on TikTok for how to do that, but one thing I do is I write everything down in my bullet journal because I'm a little bullet journal whore. What can I say? I get excited by colorful markers and cute handwriting and cute stickers. But what I would do is I would have like a 3-month layout for how long the semester would be, and I would mark every single date for every single big assignment I had coming up. And this is especially useful to help you understand what to expect for the semester, especially for finals week. It's amazing having your finals week schedule ahead of time so you know how to mentally prepare for that. For example, when I tell you my finals week last semester was actually miserable, it was very, very awful. But I knew it was going to be awful a month in advance, so I was able to best prepare myself for that. This also really allows you to be more proactive during the semester. Coming from an aggressive ex-procrastinator herself, going through college procrastinating everything is not fun, and practically speaking, there are just some classes where procrastinating is just not an option. So again, writing everything down so you know what to expect is amazing. And I will say, a lot of professors will change the due dates for like certain big assignments the closer that they get, but it's still good to have something written down just so you have an idea. So those were my 7 tips for college. I hope you guys found this video to be helpful, and thank you so much for watching this video, especially if you made it this far into the video. If you are starting college soon, good luck, you're gonna do great, and I wanna say a good luck to all of my students going back to school this season. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, and if you found it helpful, give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And if you like my personality, or if you just like my face, please hit that big red subscribe button down below. I'd appreciate that as well. And yes, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye bye.